Oh, yes. We had some technical difficulties. A shout out to Colin from Restream who made magic and fixed it. Everything is looking good. Live now. Yes. I'm Sean Shapiro with internet that currently works. We tried everything. We rebooted the router, we rebooted the computer. We tried using other forms to nothing worked. But then Colin fixed it. So thank you again, Colin. Dan, welcome to the live stream. I see you popped in on Instagram. We got Skinny and Swiss Knight and T-Dale who popping in on on TikTok. You know what? And to the folks who was I was able to get a stream using Ecamm Pro direct to YouTube. I couldn't get it to go anywhere else, and I am so thankful that that worked because I was able to chat to the few folks who were on YouTube watching. By the way, YouTube, if you can't get me any other way, you can go get YouTube. You can find me on YouTube at VoiceOver Cop. Follow me there. The live streams are all available there, like every one of them. Yes, like everything for years. You can watch hundreds of hours of video, and that's the deal. You can do that. And if it doesn't work anywhere else, proof positive that that it works there. But again, I'm so happy for the fact that they fixed it. Only 37 minutes to get this stuff work. Actually, no, it was an hour because I was panicking for the 20 minutes prior to the live stream. But it all works. It all works. All right. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer who talks about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff. And I want to help you. So if you've got traffic questions, if you want to ask me questions about policing, if you want to ask questions about becoming a police officer, you are in the right place. Yeah, we'll do this for about an hour because that's something I like to do. Nothing more, nothing less. That's about it. Um, oh, T-Dell 95, what's going on? I've been watching you for 1.5 years. If you'd like to, if you'd like to know more, T-Dell, about that question I saw, DM me. I'm happy to chat about it. But the answer might shock you because, yeah, no, we'll leave it at that. The answer might shock you. All right. I hope the folks that were on the last stream, I'm not sure how this worked out on the whole YouTube, if they got left behind, that they're sitting staring at a blank wall. Yeah. I say that because there was another stream going. Uh, Skinny wants to know how many different streams at once. So currently, I am broadcasting on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. But I could do more. I used to be on what's it called? Kick and what's the other one? Twitch. But I haven't been streaming onto those since leaving the service. Not because I can't, just because I haven't been. Like, the plan I have with, they changed all the plans. So I used to have a better plan on Restream. Now I'm paying for it out of pocket, so, I will upgrade it eventually, but, it's just a lot more money. I think I got this one for, like, cheap, a couple $100 a year, instead of $2,000 a year, so I'm growing it back. To be able to do the 8 consistent channels, I have to do more. What do we have here? Barry says, "Good morning, Sean." Good morning, Barry. Long time no talk. Hope you're doing well. EJ wants to know, how long does an officer have to file a ticket? I believe is it 7 or 10 days? Either way, it's not long, but it's irrelevant because it's all instantly sent electronically now. There's nobody walking around with a book of tickets. Well, very few people will be walking around with a bunch of tickets. Is it 7, 10, or 15 days? Um, how do you say, and yes, I did say Restream, Skinny. Restream is a great product. Okay. You know what? It's this is bugging me now. Bugging me. Hang on a second. It's a bugging me. I want to find out. The things that used to be normally like, okay. Should have this written down. Notes. Okay. See if I can find it quickly. No. Now, if you're asking how long does an officer have to issue a ticket, it's different. So there's issuing it and then filing it internally. Um, anyway, for some reason, I have 7 and 10 as the 2 numbers in my head. We're going to move on because I can, but I'll ask a friend later because it's funny. Some things stick with you, some things don't. That one, I haven't written a ticket in 5, 6 years? Oh, John says 7 days. Well, I appreciate that. Okay. Duh, 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 duh. RG says, "I got a question. I heard it's illegal to drink coffee while driving. Only water is allowed." No, that is not a law. Now, in some jurisdictions, even drinking water is illegal. Like if you look at BC, I think it's BC. Apparently, that's distracted driving, which is ridiculous. Distracted driving is not drinking a glass of water. However, they do have that charge available to them. Whereas in Ontario, distracted driving is very specific to using your handheld communication device, using your handheld entertainment device, or having a screen visible to driver, like watching a movie on a portable DVD player, if anyone has any of those left. Yeah, so that's the thing. But drinking a bottle of water, not an issue unless it is negatively impacting your ability to safely operate your motor vehicle, which is something where careless driving comes into play, regardless of how you're carelessly driving. So if you're eating soup with a spoon, having your cereal fix in the morning, I've seen it all. Yeah, that can be careless driving, not distracted. So is it illegal? Not specifically, depends. Trenton Roger wants to know, will tint affect the ability to get a safety on a car? Yes, it will. Every mechanic shop in the province must have a tint meter in order to certify a vehicle. Now, whether they use it or not is up to them. They might say, yeah, it looks good. But technically speaking, they need to verify that that tint is lawful. And that means that they cannot block more than 30% of light coming through that window. You have to have 70% of the light coming through. It's visual light transmission through the windows, left and right of the driver, and of course, you can't have anything on the windshield. So that's the thing. If you can't pass that, you should not have a certified vehicle. Because if we saw something with seriously dark windows, we'd pull the plates. Da, 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 da. Red Schofield says the corruption and police department is crazy. Oh, I don't know who Gwen Boniface is, but he's alleging that they were, she was that, I'm assuming she was the head of the OPP. It was made a senator for something. I don't know. Not following the OPP or their politics. But you know what? People that are very heavily tied in government, when they leave government jobs, tend to get into other political things. You know, our former chief was running for office. We have someone who was a former chief who's now well, he's been jumping all over the place in different areas, but at one point he was the defense minister, I think. It's a thing. Skinny says, would driving without a license ticket before getting affect points? Sorry, would driving without license ticket before getting affect points after getting? Huh? Do you mean like driving without a license before you got your license affect your license? Well, points only take place or only have impact for 2 years from the date of the offense. So if you were driving without a license before you were licensed, and 2 years later you got licensed, well, those points wouldn't be there. They wouldn't affect you. Your long form driving record would see it. You have the convictions stay for 3 years. So it's possible that driving without a license would be there. Entirely possible. How do you check the windshield? That one wants to know. You want to know how you check if tint is on the windshield? You look at it. You can't have any tint on the windshield. So if you see tint, it's illegal. Okay. Cancer Man Cole wants to know, when I retired from being a cop, I left the police service at the end of August was my last day. So very beginning technically was my last day in September. But that's it. Yeah, I was I left, and it's been ages now. It's we're in the 6th month. Yeah, scary, isn't it? How quickly time flies. Okay. In Alberta, you can get your learner's license at 14. Could they drive in Ontario? No. Craig Roger 51 wants to know the answer to that question. And the answer is no. You must be 16 years old to drive in the province of Ontario. So if you had a learner's permit from somewhere else, which really isn't valid anywhere but the province it's issued, it would, regardless of that, even if you could get a full license in that province, you could not drive in Ontario, where the minimum driving age is 16. Okay. Dan Werner says, is there a law for snow on the roof of a tractor trailer? I wish there was something we could do to fix this problem. As a truck driver myself, I wish we had a way to remove the snow. There is a way to remove the snow. It's an external system that you drive through, like a car wash, but the top is a blade, and it moves to adjusts, I guess, to the top of your rig, and your in the box you're towing, and it'll scrape all the snow off. And absolutely, you could be charged for uh, insecure load. I mean, your driving could be with hundreds of pounds of snow on top of your vehicle, or at least the trailer, and that's going to blow off and it's going to take out a car. Now, sometimes you get the nice, the mystical, shiny stuff, and where it just. I actually have some video of it. Can I share this video? I don't know if I can get this to you in a reasonable amount of time. But I took some video on the 404 southbound. I say I took. What it actually means is I had my dash camera and it captured the moment. Okay, hang on. Let's see if I can get it. This is not going to work well. It's going to be me staring at my device, and I made a folder. And what did I call it? I call it a dash cam. I'm giving this precisely, where the heck is anybody else really annoyed, like, really annoyed with the new iPhone's, what's it called? Photos app? Ever since the update, I know likey. I know likey. Alright, I'm looking for maybe this is it. No. I don't see enough snow on the ground for it to be. I'm scrolling through dash cam footage. I do these things where I take the video and then I try and save it, and then I gotta find it again, which is more difficult than you might think. Yeah, this is not helpful. That's just somebody crossing over the set. Oh, oh, oh! I found it. Look at me. Um, Here we go. Let's start this again. I'm not doing anything fancy importing it, but what I was talking about was the fun. There we go. Okay. There we go. Just streaming, just creating its own little snow squall. And, someone might say, "That's not dangerous." Okay. That's best case scenario where it's, just throwing some light stuff and maybe making the visibility less so for the people behind. But at the end of the day, when it comes off in bricks and blows through windows, I've had my windshield smashed out by an 18-wheeler throwing stuff my way. So, yeah, could totally charge them for that. PR Jenkins 77, good morning from Toronto. Good morning to you. Dan follows up with, I'm diligent and have had companies remove the snow when too high, but sometimes I can't see it when it warms and thaws and flies off in chunks. Yeah, super dangerous. Ryan's Thin White Line Interceptor, my friend who is a photographer and driver, says, good day, Sean. I hope all is well. It is now that the technology is cooperating. Thank you. Brandon says, Jeff Bezos' company, they built spaceships. Which company are we talking about? Oh, that's the company. Okay, in the live stream earlier, he was taking a tour of a building of a company, and they build spaceships. Gotcha. And Sir LaBelle says, I'm a trucker. I'm not climbing on top of a trailer that high. Those blades are not everywhere. Yes, this is true. It is not something that is everywhere. It should be everywhere. It should be at every rest stop. There should be a mandate to have these things because you could be, you are responsible for a collision or damage that you cause when that flies off your truck. It just is. Maybe people need to install warmers to defrost these vehicles before taking it. But if you drive with that stuff on your truck, you are responsible. And I get the fact that you say I'm not able to clear that off. And by the way, your suggestion of don't follow so close, I get it. But it's not appropriate because when you're driving on the road and that thing flies up and then hits a patch of wind and does 40 feet, well, 40 feet is plenty far for someone to be following you. If that lands on the car, you're responsible. You don't like it? Maybe not. It's not a fun thing to be responsible for something like that because you could kill someone. Just saying, you're responsible. I know it's inconvenient, but there's got to be a way. Maybe you get those tarps. We put tarps on all the vehicles when we park them, and you unfold them like the silly things that people put on top. Maybe they're not silly. They put like garbage bags on their windshield so they can just peel it up and all the snow comes off. There's got to be a way. A rotating, the old school dryer sheets. When how old am I that I'm talking about the never-ending loop of dirty towels that people used to use for drying their hands in restrooms? But yeah, they're gross. I think they were supposed to have a clean side and a dirty side, and you're supposed to replace it. But let's be real, it just kept on going in a circle. It's gross. But if you had that where you could crank it down and it would just drop the snow off the end, and That would be safer. And if you make that thing that I just suggested, if it hasn't already been created, I'll split the profits with you. Okay, just send me a check. Anyway, let's get back into this. Did you say? Ah, T-Del95 wants to know. I had to. I lost it. There was a button on top of it, so I had to press it so it would take the button off of your comment so I can actually read it. And now I can't find it. But I will find it. I've yet to find it. Here it is. I download RAM. Never heard back about traffic ticket I appealed. Should I be worried about it? It's been about 6 months is probably about right. That's not an unreasonable amount of time. It feels unreasonable while you're waiting for information, but it's actually not an unreasonable amount of time. I wonder if YouTube. Sorry, I'm with all this technology stuff that wasn't working. I just want to check to see what goes on. Is the YouTube stream? I think people are in the wrong YouTube. They're probably waiting for the other one. So if you're watching it, not who uses YouTube Music? Why does that exist? All right. I just want to check if there's an old one. Yeah, I see my live. I see myself. Monday. Yeah. So the old one is still there, and people might be going to the wrong one. Oh, well. That sucks. Okay. But the live is living. Well, I guess when they get to the 11-minute point where it says, hey, by the way, we're not actually here, go to the other one. Okay, back to TikTok here. Thank you. Okay. Sir Lavelle, who's the trucker who was talking about how dangerous it is to climb up a truck, he responds and says, it should be there. It should, but not there everywhere. It's dangerous to climb. I get that it's dangerous to climb. It's also dangerous to have ice and snow fly off your vehicle and hurt somebody. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce this username, so I'm not going to try. Do you run the plate on your computer to see if the car has insurance, or you have a laser thing? What? Do you run the plate on your computer to see if the car has okay, so there's a couple of different things going on here. First off, do police officers run license plates? Yes, there's both automatic license plate readers that are an option. There are also manual data entry. You type the license plate in and run it. When that search comes back, it tells you who owns the vehicle. It doesn't tell you if it has insurance or not. That's not a thing. In terms of, can we check to see certain things to get some investigative background to find out if there might be insurance? Yes. We can find out if it's being confirmed or unconfirmed by the ministry. That does not mean that it has insurance. It means that it has a finding of confirmed or unconfirmed. Doesn't tell me the policy number, doesn't tell me the policy holder or the company, nothing. Like it's just that 15 days ago, someone did a check and it came back with a result. It still means I have to pull you over and find out if I want to know if you have insurance, because people lie all the time. I know it's crazy, but people buy insurance, then cancel it. So they temporarily appear to have insurance, but it doesn't mean a thing. They may have, it's not definitive. So you pull someone over, you make a demand for license ownership and insurance. You take that insurance policy card and then you make a record of it so that we can call the company later and find out if that insurance policy is valid. If it turns out that insurance policy was not valid, we have up to 3 years to come lay a charge later. So just because someone fakes it with a fake piece of proof, because it's only as good as the investigation goes, we can come back and charge you. And that happens a lot. That was my part-time thing in my downtime, was to call insurance companies and verify the status of insurance policies on the date that it happened. Okay. Jay says, if my driver's license is suspended in Quebec, can I get it in Ottawa? Can you get another? If you're suspended in Quebec, can you get another province to issue you a license? Is the question. And the answer is no. If you're there's actually a specific charge for hold a license of a province when suspended in another province. But so it's against the law. And when it is a reciprocal agreement, if you're suspended in one province, you are suspended in another or in all of them. That's a thing. But if you are driving on, because some people don't they do these things to avoid detection, intentionally. Can you believe that? Yeah, you're suspended everywhere. If you apply under false pretenses and you're found to be suspended elsewhere when you're pulled over, well, guess what? Yeah, you get charged. You're driving under suspension. Okay. Rekka, thank you for the follow. A Perry 51 says, "Why'd you retire slash quit policing?" I left about 10 years before I originally planned to, because I needed to for my family. They need me home, stuff going on, and it is more better for me to be home and available to them when they need me, as opposed to being, an hour to 2 hours away, which was what my drive home was. So some days I get to work and I'd have to turn around and go home again, and that just became taxing. So I decided to change my routine, and as a result, I've now co-founded something called Better Traffic, and it's a not-for-profit organization which is in doing what I do right now. The goal is to make traffic safety education and the explanation of laws available to everybody in this plain speak that I provided in, and to do that without using any taxpayer money. It's all due to the funding or sponsorship of companies like Diamond and Diamond and Barrett Legal and others who are coming on board, which is awesome. I really appreciate the support. And if you want to support us, go to bettertraffic.ca and you get more information. Okay. Okay. So, oh, I see. Master Technician wants to know if I got to Motorama. I never did. I would like to try and get to. The weekend went bananas, and now we're into the mix of March break, which is oddly enough a dangerous time. Why is dangerous? Well, when we change our routine. Any kind of change of routine really messes with people's heads. So we are going to see more people on the road, people who would normally be in school out playing around doing other things, just more pedestrians, more cyclists. If it's a nice day today, you may actually see someone on a bicycle. And why am I bringing this up? Just be careful. Expect the unexpected, because people do the darndest things in general, and then more of them just increases the risk. In addition to that, we just had the time change, which is still making some people feel a little wonky. We see an increase in well, not only pedestrian involved collisions, but collisions in general, because people are just off kilter for about 2 weeks. So, be a little more cautious, try and focus on getting the appropriate amount of sleep. Do that for a couple of weeks and you should be out of the woods, but it's dangerous. Be careful. Um, oh, Reg Schofield, I don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah. I know he's apologizing for spamming about other things that are not related, but he's still spamming. Okay. Worse Worthman64 says, "I tricked the scammer into providing me their direct deposit info. Can anything be done if notified?" Uh, not much for me to do with it, but if you call scam stuff is RCP directly. They have a scam number. I mean, you can call if you were a victim of an offense like that. You can certainly call your local authorities, but you're probably going to be redirected to the RCMP because they tend to do. Maybe they're the only for the online stuff. Not my area of expertise, but not much for me to do with it. But you could certainly notify your local authorities. But thanks for the follow, Miko and Kenneth. Um, and Miko sent a wave or a high five. 27 GZ, sorry, GZ, 27 GZ said, "Honest question, do you think there's corruption in the MTO driver's license examining?" Yeah, we know there is. There's no question there are people who are being licensed that have no business driving a motor vehicle. There's people who have never stepped foot in that place who have been issued a license because somebody else has gotten it for them, or they've gone and paid a driving school to accelerate their program to get their G2 sooner than a year to get the 8 month. There's all sorts of crooked people who are willing to take a bribe. It's gross. There have been investigative reports that have uncovered it. Absolutely, there's corruption there. Is it widespread? I couldn't say. Do I know it has happened and will happen again? Absolutely. Rekka says, "Can you tell us about one-way insurance?" I can't because I've never heard of one-way insurance. What is this? Do you know what one-way insurance is? Let me let's see if I can find anything out about it that I can share. Because maybe it's just like last week, Friday, somebody said, "Could you tell me about what it was even called?" Oh. So it's interesting that you call it. So one-way insurance, I've never, ever, ever heard about it referred to this way. One-way insurance is essentially when you don't have it's liability. It's liability only. It doesn't cover comprehensive. Mind you, yeah. So this is where all benefits are paid to the other party. You don't get benefits, which I've never heard of. So, I mean, basically you get liability, which is one way I think is the same thing. And it doesn't cover, like, let's say you're at fault. Okay, let's back this up. It appears, and correct me if I'm wrong by anyone who's watching, uh, if you get one way, which again, never heard of it referred to that way, but when you have liability only, you get into a crash and it's your fault, you don't have the what's it called? Comprehensive coverage. Comprehensive covers your vehicle damage regardless if it was your fault. Because if you have liability only, if it's your fault, they do not fix your stuff. Now, all the benefits to the other party are covered in the liability. They're also generally insured themselves. If you are a liability only driver and you are involved in a collision, but it's not your fault, well, the other party's paying for your damages. So that comprehensive insurance coverage is to cover you in case you're the fault person. If you're the doo-doo, the person with the doo-doo who doo-dooed it. That was very wordy for that. I've never ever heard of it referred to one way though. I mean, obviously it exists because when I looked it up, it came back. But wow. Worstman says it means liability insurance. But why on earth would they call it that? Well, Rick, I appreciate you bringing this up. It's just like the other term that was on Friday that has since escaped me. What was it called? It was, am I going to be able to find? Oh, I wrote it down. Hang on a second. I made notes. That's why I have paper. Is this book? So here, let me look this up for a second. Because I said, I'm going to make a note. And it was, come on. Was it this book or another book? Okay, this is bugging me. Of course not. Of course I don't have the right book in front of me. It was something else about insurance, and they used a terminology that I wasn't familiar with, but I looked it up, and sure as poop. It was exactly what I didn't think it was. So it was a concept of what happens when you borrow someone's car, um, loaning your coverage to someone who borrows your vehicle, and that's what they were asking about. But the U.S. again, weird terminology. So what's going on? Is Canada taking on a weird American terminology? Is that a thing now? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't know why. Liban, who says it's liability only. Thank you, and I see Rekka thanks you as well. Uh, okay, JB, that's collision. Collision upset. Comprehensive is fire, theft, and vandalism. What? Comprehensive? JB saying comprehensive is not when it's your responsibility. I thought it was everything. I am not an insurance broker, nor have I ever claimed to be. But that's awesome. I'm glad. Uh, Delano says, bro, working for Diamond and Diamond. I am not working. I'm not an employee of Diamond and Diamond. They happen to be sponsors, just like Barrett Legal and others who are coming on board. But this is I co-founded a not-for-profit agency called Better Traffic. It's actually called the Canadian Organization for Better Traffic Safety and Education, Inc. But I'm not an employee of Diamond and Diamond. They just happen to be sponsors. But if you look, there's more than one law firm that's posted there, which would suggest I'm not you would think that people would figure that out. Okay. Oh, Master Technician says one-way and two-way insurance is a European term, so I can't blame the Americans for that. Good to know. I appreciate that. Thank you, Master Technician. Um, Master Technician happens to be a Master Technician. Who'd have thunk? And Liban, thank you for the gift. Not necessary, but I do appreciate it. Okay. Thrag says, I have a question. If I don't have insurance, but I use my mom's car that has insurance just once, that's that other thing I was talking about. So if you borrow a vehicle from somebody, do you have to be on the policy? If you don't live with them and you're not part of a group of people who are excluded, like someone who's under the age of 21 or 25 could be excluded. It depends on the agreement you have with your insurance company. In any case, you can borrow someone's car with their permission, and you are covered by their insurance as long as you're a licensed driver who's not excluded. So aside from that, you have to take into consideration that some policies also require those who live with you to be listed specifically on the policy. And what happens if you violate that contract? Well, it means that they may not cover your vehicle or the vehicle that you're driving. Like they cover the liability, but they don't cover the vehicle. So if they had comprehensive or they had collision, they're not going to cover that because there was a violation. However, they would still cover the basic insurance, is my understanding. Uh, but it's so simple. If you live with someone, you almost in every case, I've never heard of a policy that doesn't want them to be listed on the insurance policy. And there's a difference between borrowing a car as a one-off thing or borrowing it every Wednesday. Like that is a regular use, and they would want someone to be covered for that. I imagine anybody in the insurance business. By the way, I need to. We're relaunching Traffic Jam, the podcast, and if anyone knows of people in the industry, insurance industry, um, automotive industry that are experts and would like to be talking about stuff and things with me, let them know that they should reach out or let me know who they are so I can reach out to them. All right. Back to other questions that are not insurance. All right. Simon Tour says, I have a question. I got a speeding ticket out of the province of Ontario and got 3 demerit points. How long does it stay? Demerit points stay on your license for 2 years from the date of the offense. So if you paid it and you were convicted, that's when you pay it, you're pleaded guilty. It would be registered to your license. It would stay for 2 years from the date of the offense and then disappear. Your conviction, however, will stay for 3 years from the date of conviction. And JP Perrier says, friend got a ticket for excessive damage because his trailer hitch still on truck. Excessive damage? In what jurisdiction did that happen? I've never even heard of a charge for excessive damage. It's not illegal to have a trailer hitch. Let's look up charges for excessive damage. This is a new one. Handy dandy HDA here. I don't see a charge. Where was that? I'd like to know. Nothing. There's no charge that says excessive damage. There's no charge with the word damage. Wait, is there? Failed to report damaged vehicle is the only, and improper tire damage to highway. No, I don't see anything with the word damage or excessive in the title, in the short form wording. So I'd love to know more. If you can find out what the specific charge was, I would really like to know. This is where my traffic law geekdom goes. I want to know these obscure charges and why they were laid. It's just a thing. And I'm really curious, sorry, as I go down this rabbit hole, I need to find out why I'm not getting messages from X. Bum, bum. One second here. Going to delete this since I'm here. And make sure, let's see if are we actually streaming on X? Did it work? Maybe there's other things going on. Okay, trying again. I think it's not working. I mean, he thinks it's broken. Or maybe because it tried so many times, it got blocked. Huh. All right. That's probably why it's not working. Can anyone see me on X? If you go to VoiceOver Cop on X, do you see it? Because something's doing weird stuff. Today's not the day of good technology. Uncooperative technology is what we have. That's what we have. Uncooperative technology. Yeah, I just get a spinny thing. All right. Not meant to be today. I may have to go live more this week. Maybe we'll do a live every day or different times throughout the week. Do an afternoon one tomorrow. All right. Tyler says, is there still RCMP in Ontario outside of Ottawa? What's their role if there is such a thing as OPP? Oh, if why what's their role if there's an OPP? So the RCMP in Ontario don't do general policing duties. They're more of, dignitary, special operations. They have, units that work for clearing, and protecting IPPs, internationally protected persons, but they don't do traffic stops like they would somewhere else. I mean, they could, but they need to have special skills to do that because we have a different HTA. Like for RCMP to function in the province, they have I think an extra training course. But ultimately, the OPP does rural areas, areas that don't have their own municipal police service, and they do highways. But then the RCMP don't really have a thing other than dealing with their jurisdictional stuff. And most of that, from my understanding, is IPPs. Thrag 12 says, oh, they gave you a ticket? I have a question. So I'm going to reread your original question. I have a question. If I don't have insurance, but I use my mom's car that has insurance just once. So yes, that's legal. But, and maybe you got a ticket for failing to surrender proof of insurance. If they say to you, license, ownership, and insurance, and you go, I don't know, it's my mom's car. Well, you're going to get a ticket for $65 for not having your insurance card, your mom's insurance card. You're going to get an additional charge of $110 for failing to surrender the ownership of the vehicle. If you don't have your license with you, you get a $110 charge for that. Did you get charged for failing to prove insurance, or did you get charged? What did you get charged with? That's a better question. All right. William Tell says it's better to be listed anyway on insurance policies so that you can start building a driving history. 100%. If you live with someone, what a great opportunity, especially if you're going to be driving. Be on the policy, start developing that history. Yeah, it's driving experience. Master Technician says he'd love to be on my podcast. We can talk about Master Technician stuff. Yeah, let's talk about it. He also said a lot of Border Patrol work. Border Patrol? Really? I guess so. Yeah, I guess they're at the airport. That's a thing. RCMP at the airport. 5th Gen SH97 says, have a catback exhaust, tint on lowering springs. Tint on lowering springs? Oh, it's tint and it's on lowering springs. I was trying to think why you would tint your lowering springs, but that makes no sense. Why don't we have an Autobahn traffic cops thumbs down? So you don't like the people who work to make the roads safer for you and for the people you love because you want to have an Autobahn to go really fast and have people get hurt? You make no sense, my friend. But catback exhaust is legal if you have the appropriate stuff. You can have a high flow, you can have high flow cats, you can have a better muffler as long as it meets or exceeds the standard. You can have a resonator that meets or exceeds the standard. You can't have a straight pipe from the cat back. Cat back just refers to it's after your catalytic converters as opposed to a brand new system. So you chop the old system, you put a cat to the back of the car, new system, but that still has to be legal. You can't have a straight pipe. Tint is legal as long as you have legal tint. If you have illegal tint, it's illegal. And lowering springs, if it's done properly, it can be done legally. It could be done improperly. And if you just chop your springs, you probably did it wrong. Okay. Failure to remove. So JP Perry, where is that charge, or what charge are we talking? So failure to. There's no word failure in the HTA. What province was this? Like the word failure is not in the short form wording, unless they just made it up. What province is this? And maybe I'm going to scroll ahead so I can see. Derek says, I heard in Alberta you're not allowed to have it on unless you're using it. That's possible. I'm talking about Ontario, of course, and there's no charge here. And why would there be? It's silly. There's trucks that have built-in hitches. Like you cannot remove them. It would be ridiculous to then say, oh, if you have a big truck with a giant steel molded trailer hitch, because the trailer hitch that has the it's like the jaws of life there. Those don't come off, at least not on all trucks. Heavy machinery, they're there all the time. Why would that be okay, but not allowed on your? I would argue that in court. John Dylan Marple wants to know if you can get arrested if you don't pay your tickets. If you don't pay your tickets, I suppose at some point you could, like if you don't pay your tickets and you keep offending and then the courts determine that they want to put out a bench warrant for you. Yeah, I could see that being the case. However, just not paying your ticket means you won't be able to renew your license, you won't be able to renew your license plates. Before it would get to anything that would involve you getting arrested, there'd be a long route. I've never seen someone arrested for it myself. JP, you got okay, JP, you're saying you got charged for failing to remove your friend got charged for it in Ontario. I need to know what section of the HGA they were charged under. If you can get me more information, I would really appreciate it because I am not familiar um, with that at all. Like I can't find anything on it. So um, I'm gonna do one more thing here. Uh, stand by. This is really interesting. As I type my scripty script here. But okay, and causing more damage. I'm curious to see if yeah, I could yeah, this is the same thing. So I'm asking ChatGPT to review information that I have in a custom GPT and confirm my belief. Um, yeah, like there's nothing. So if you leave your ball in there, your receiver with the ball, and it blocks your plate, you can get charged $110. That we know. Improper or unsafe equipment. If it's deemed to this is interesting. If it's deemed to extend dangerously or to be a hazard, an officer might ticket under 74(1). Having unsafe equipment, maybe that's what they charge, but that's a discretionary charge, and I think it's ridiculous that someone would lay that because it's not unsafe equipment. It's totally safe equipment. It's just somebody stretching to get a ticket, I think. Um, let me look at the wording on that. I'm a little opinionated. What can I say? 74(1). And it's not even, it's no clear. No, it's 1A. I think that's been repealed. I don't even think that's a charge. Oh, it's 74. That's 74. I looked up 74. I think it's been repealed. I don't think that's a current charge. And then civil liability is not a charge, but you can be sued. I don't buy this. Some U.S. States and Canadian provinces, like Quebec, do have rules about requiring hitches to be removed when not in use. Ontario doesn't. Now I want to know the entire world. Search North America. Okay. While that's doing its thing, we'll look at other stuff. But JP, let me know exactly. I'd love to see that ticket. Okay. Da, 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 da. Failure to remove hitch because you can. I need to know a section. Okay. Does red light camera take a picture of vehicles turning left? Red light cameras take pictures of vehicles who cross the line and enter the intersection after it's turned red. That's it. That's all. So if you're driving a motor vehicle, the intersection is red before you cross the line. You cross the line and you get a ticket. Doesn't matter if you're turning left or turning right. That's the deal. And that confuses a lot of people because they go, Why did I get a ticket? I was turning right." Well, you have to stop before you turn right, and you have to stop at the appropriate place. People roll past the stop line, stop in the middle of the intersection. That would be a stop wrong place ticket if I was seeing you as a police officer. The camera just registers you as you entering the intersection when it was red, and that's what you did. Yeah. Okay, Dirk. Oh, interesting. So, Derek says that in Alberta, you're not allowed to have it on unless you're using it. And then Derek is responded to by Master Technician who says, but it's not actively enforced. Interesting. But you know what? I've got Logan Grant from Brooks, Alberta. He's an enforcement officer there. We're gonna reach out to him and I'm gonna talk to him about trailer hitch. This has spawned a whole conversation. I'm doing a trailer hitch video now, um, as I deep dive into this nonsense. Trailer hitch video. I love it. People say, "How do you come up with these videos?" This is how I come up with videos. Conversation. Okay. Let's see here. All Things Golf sent me 20 roses. Thank you very much. Not necessary, but I do appreciate it. I don't do this so you can pay for it, but if you want to contribute to better traffic and what we do, by all means, I appreciate anything that's a contribution. It's going to just go into the kitty to help do stuff and things. Okay. Ran into house. What is this? All Things Golf says, ran it to use the bathroom, parked on a wide out shoulder in a small town, got a double fine. A double fine for, let me know what that fine was because I don't know your acronym. All Things Golf, then OPP posted it all over Twitter. What did they post? Oh, here we go. Oh, disobey sign. There we go. So sometimes these things are hard to track because things are moving all over the place. So All Things Golf got a disobey sign ticket for for parking a truck in front of a no parking sign. That's junk. A parking sign for disobey sign. A disobey sign ticket is, yes, you're disobeying the sign, but that's a moving violation ticket, not a parking ticket. I think that's not appropriate, but it may be. I wouldn't do it, but I think it's dirty pool. But, you could always say, "I'd like to plead guilty to the parking ticket that should have been issued instead of the moving violation," because you can acknowledge that, take responsibility and negotiate to say, "I wasn't driving. I wasn't even in the car when the person tagged me." Um, they or did they? Did they waited for you and then gave you a ticket? Because they have to issue it to the driver, not the registered owner. Anyway, more interesting things. I'm not let me be clear, 'cause it's as I'm talking about all these tickets that I don't agree with, I don't fight tickets, I don't help people fight tickets. I think most people earn the tickets that they get, and for that, they should be punished. I prefer people don't break the law rather than try and get out of the laws they broke and don't wanna be held responsible for it. But in certain times, like the one you're describing, I don't think it was appropriate, and for that, I wouldn't have laid that charge, and I don't think others people should either. Um so XI Clutch wants to know, their friend got a speeding ticket 2 years ago, which dropped and also careless driving. Can you still become a police officer with that? Yeah, most police agencies want a clean record for 5 years, no more than 6 demerit points. The more serious the charge, the less likely you're gonna become a cop. Like, if you had stunt driving charges, yeah. JP Perrier, JP Perrier, who we've been talking about the whole hitch thing about, is saying it was years ago that this occurred, and it may have been on the books then, but it is not now, if that's the case. But who knows? The law and wording, and someone could have written down something on a ticket, it could have been paid, and it could have been totally not a correct charge. I gotta talk to my old-timer friends to find out if they're aware of any charge ever that was on the books. Okay. Buski says, "How come you're a former police officer? What happened?" I left. I left the police service at the end of August. Just family reasons. I needed to be home more. Um, now I'm a quasi self-employed person as I do stuff and things with the not-for-profit that I created. I guess it's a corporation, so it's not mine because it's not for profit, so it's not self-employed. It's an entity unto it's very complicated. But I'm doing consulting as well. I'm doing all sorts of stuff. Benzo says, "What's going on with all the tow wars I'm seeing over TikTok?" Tow wars is a thing. We have people in the business of towing, some that are good and some that are criminals, and they don't like when other people take their money by doing business in their jurisdiction. It's like turf wars, and they're doing really dumb stuff. Houses are getting shot up, uh, trucks are getting burned. It's a scary time to be in the tow truck industry or to be anywhere near someone in the tow truck industry. It's not good. Not good. All right. Let's see what else is going on here. So we've got Riley who says, "I'm in BC. I'm 18. I lost my license for DUI, not criminal twice now. Should I be allowed to drive again?" What? You got done for DUI. They did not. So in Ontario, we don't have a not criminal DUI. I'm not aware. I don't understand this concept of someone not being charged criminally for impaired driving. So here we would proceed to try and take away your license for life, after 2 or 3 times. Like, there's you should not be driving. If you have a problem with drinking, you should not be driving. And personally, I'm telling you, you shouldn't be driving. You should figure out your problems first. In terms of, BC law and how they proceed, if they're not charging people criminally for being impaired behind the wheel, I don't understand what they're doing because that doesn't sound right. John K. The message just there we go. After being retired, what is the what is one of your most memorable memories that you will never forget? I have so many of them, both good and bad. But I have memorable bad stuff and I have memorable good stuff. Uh, it's 25 years of good and bad, right? Yeah, I have to think about those things, and I tend not to try and think about some of those things. Let's see here. Miss Pooja says, "My husband got hired with Peel Police. Congratulations to your husband and to you as a family. Welcome to the police family. It's a wonderful place. It's the best job in the world." Which brings me up to the magic of. Have you ever thought about becoming a police officer? I mean, obviously, yeah, your hubby did. Let me just pull up the. This is my opportunity to plug the best police service in the world, in my opinion, and that's of course Toronto Police Association, Toronto Police Service. Okay, here we go. Careers, www.tps.ca/careers, where you can get all this wonderful information about becoming a police officer. If you've ever thought about it, go check it out. You can find out lots of stuff and things about becoming a copper here, what the rules are, what the regulations or requirements are, kind of things are expected of you, um, what you have to do on a daily. It's a little slice, a little understanding, what kind of schedule. It's good stuff to know. Now, if you're there, apply. If you qualify and you're interested, apply, or at very least go to an information session. If you're not interested in becoming a police officer, but you'd like to try out, uh, either as a special constable, they do booking officers. They have divisional special constables. They have court officers that work in the courts for prisoner transportation and such. That's what I started out as. I started out as an auxiliary officer, which is a volunteer role. Fantastic way to give back to your city. All sorts of police services have auxiliary. If you're looking for a unique and rewarding volunteer experience, check them out. Check out the auxiliary program wherever you are. Toronto Police might have the best one. I'm just saying. Civilian roles. If you don't want to be in uniform at all, or if you have unique skills and talents that might make our police service better, think about this. You could become a volunteer chaplain. That's totally separate, but it is a great way to give back. If you know someone who might qualify for that, safety coordinator and wellness, parking enforcement officer, I think is a great position, and communications operator are positions that are currently open now. But you can apply. We hire mechanics, service people. There are a ton of job opportunities within the Toronto Police Service and services all over the place. It's a thing. You can give back without going and being on the road as a police officer or as a parking enforcement officer. Tons of ways to contribute to your community. Okay. Congratulations again, Miss Pooja. Okay. So going back to that, okay, so All Things Golf, who was talking about the fact that the copper waited for them to come out and then um, gave him a ticket, a moving violation. Yeah, I think it's an inappropriate use. Technically, possibly correct, but not the right way to do things. And it's probably only issued because he wanted to give you the ticket because he was frustrated, but didn't have a parking book because there's different rules about writing parking tickets, and most coppers don't know how to write a parking ticket. Um, okay. Oh, wow. Went on to your CVOR. That's yeah, lovely. I mean, it can be done, I just don't agree with it. Okay, got a driving in the HOV lane ticket, chose early resolution and heard nothing back. How long does it take? It's all backlog. It could take 6 months, it could take a year. And now if it takes a year, you might wanna start looking at 11B application because it's taking too long, it's ridiculous. I've heard of courts going very, very quickly, but that's not what you're experiencing. Follow up with them. Do you think it's an exception to speed in a very severe emergency, for example, relative on deathbed? No, it's not okay to put other lives at risk because you have something that is urgent. And I get it. I've lost loved ones. I've been in a situation where you want to be there and it means so much to you. And for your kid, if something you panic and nothing nothing matters. You just want to get there. Well, the problem is that you may never get there. It's called guaranteed arrival. We talk about it in policing. We train police officers to drive safely. Police officers can drive quickly, but they have to drive safely. Priority is get there and don't become a patient or part of the problem. Because if you drive like a maniac on the way there and you don't get there, you're helping nobody. And you may do everything to get there and risk your life and everyone else around you and still not get there on time. No. Now we have things like FaceTime. You can be where you have to be. You can be involved in the conversation. Other people can be contacted, but there's no excuse for putting lives at risk. Plus one says, why should BIM responsible for someone who is not wearing seatbelt sitting with his family? What? Why should BIM responsible for somebody who is not wearing seatbelt sitting with his family? I don't know what you're talking about. I'd like you to rephrase. I'd love to answer your question, but I don't understand your question. Okay. John K says, I wish in Ontario you can transfer a vehicle ownership like they do in Saskatchewan. No safety. Why? I mean, you can transfer it without a safety. It just becomes not legit for the road. You can't drive it. Ms. Puja says, I'm a social worker. I work with the MCRRT in Coast. So I work with a team, but not for the police. Awesome. All things golf. Thank you for the thank you. Okay. Yeah. So in terms of the ticket that's taking forever, I would suggest reaching out to them. All right. Cool. Well, we've been doing this for an hour. I had one dad joke, which I think I lost. Maybe I have the. Hang on. Do I have the one dad joke that was shared? The dad joke is from Brandon. It was from earlier. He said, I told my wife to embrace her mistakes, so she gave me a hug. There you go. Today's been a little bit off. I may even go live later because with all of the technical issues that we experienced, a lot of people didn't get online. Like, for instance, Twitter, still no working. I can't even see my profile. Posts are not loading right now. Try again. It's fantastic. So technical issues all the way around. We might just do a do-over later on the afternoon. And with that, I'm going to go make lunch for my family because it's March break. So if you're out there, stay safe, pay attention to what's going on because the world is in crisis when anything outside of our norm is triggered. And for that, staying home from school could be just that trigger. And if you want to join me later, tell me what time. What time is good? 4 o'clock? What do you think? 4 o'clock a good time? Maybe we'll do it 4 o'clock. Maybe later. Maybe do it 7 p.m. What do you think? Throw in a comment quickly. Let me know when you think is a better time to come in, and that's when I'll come back. But if nobody responds, Paul, thank you very much. He says, stay safe. 4 p.m. Bernhard 22 says, what's going on, Bernhard? We got one vote for 4 p.m., one vote for 7. And then C says, you retired? Yeah, I left the police at the end of August, which is feels like forever ago. I miss it a lot. But it was the right thing to do for family. Family first. It's really, they say it all your life. And it's not until you're a dad and have a family that you really know that there's nothing else. Okay. 2 votes for 7. Bernhard, you want? Are you willing to? Are you able to come back for 7? DSP says family first. So true. 21 days to go. Counting down. C says congrats. It was nice to meet you at TSV. Hope all is well. Everything is good so far. Thank you so much. JGM, how much to pay for sponsorship? If you go to bettertraffic.ca, you can reach out to me there. You can get info at Better Traffic. I've been working with larger companies, but it all depends on what you want to do. I'm sure there's a way for you to sponsor on any scale. Okay. With that, I'm going to sign off for today. Bernhard, 7 p.m. We got 2 votes for 7. You're the only 4 p.m. If you can't make it for 7, I get it. But 7 probably makes sense to do. I don't do the late night stuff very often. All right. Who knows? We'll do a whole bunch of stuff this week and make it interesting. All right. I'm out of here. Take care.